Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's great to see you all. Oh, how I have missed you so much. This is the Village Law SEQFC preview show. My name is Darren Lutton, and I was just thinking before, it's probably been since round 4 that we've done a show. So we've got a lot to catch up on. Firstly, I'm going to let you know who's on the show. So we've got Lliam Parslow.
Hello. We're back.
Liam's, of course, one of their admins on SEQFC. Another fellow admin is Scott Harding. G'day, Scotty.
Hello, boys. How are you?
Good, mate. Disappointing with Southampton, but you'll be
That's
back.
all right. That's all right. I'll live. They'll come back.
Southampton always come back.
They come back, mate.
We've got Tim from Logan Village. Tim, tell me how to pronounce your surname, please.
Knoblauch.
Knoblauch.
Yeah, Knoblauch.
That's not what I'd have guessed.
Most people get that one wrong.
Good stuff. You're the head coach at Logan Village. Great to have you with us so we can actually talk about some FQ Metro North and South. And a guy who's just joined us, we've been chatting for a while, but he's just joined the chat. It's Rob Askew, head coach at Lions. G'day, Rob.
How are you, Darren?
Good, mate, good. I was going to introduce you tonight as the winningest coach in Southeast Queensland football history.
Really?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I didn't know that. Is that a fact?
Oh, look, I would challenge.
We can make it a fact.
I throw it out there. No one's got a record as good as yours, mate. Sure.
Yeah, I've had a very good decade, but before that, not so much. So yeah, it took a while, but I've found some good form the last 10 years.
Definitely. I mean, you must remember every loss that you've had, right?
Sorry?
You must have a memory of every loss that you've had over those past 10 years.
Games or grand finals? Not every game. I can't remember every game. I can certainly remember the games. We were just talking about it here tonight. The last 5 years at Lions. It's been. I think we've had 5 losses in 5 years, and 3 of them were in 2020.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. Incredible record. All right, let's throw everyone in the mix here. We're going to have a quick run through the NPL men's competition. Gold Coast Knights had a win over Gold Coast United in the derby on the weekend, which puts them 1 point ahead. Gray was going to be a guest with us tonight, but Gray Pinnock, but we'll get him in next week. Probably after he has a win on the weekend. Guys, NPL competition, it's close. Knights, United, Moreton Bay, Brisbane City and Lions, just a little bit back.
Great, isn't it? It's it's great because it's not the usual players from last season, is it? It's really not what we thought at the start of the season where we thought this was going to go. We thought we were all being very smart with how predictable it was all going to be. But it's just the last 4 weeks, as you said, we haven't really kept an eye on the ladder last few weeks, Darren, as you said, and it's just really throwing up a few curveballs this season, hasn't it? Yeah,
and it's funny because when I saw Gold Coast United was in pre-season, and I thought, ooh, they look sharp.
Yeah.
But I never expected this. The second on the ladder, 8 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. So impressive stuff.
Yeah,
that's hot form.
And
I watched them when they were here at Lions, and they're really difficult to score against. And I think that might be their foundation. Basically, is that you just can't score against them, and they didn't have many chances that night, but they certainly were ruthless when the opportunities came.
Yeah. And I think the most notable thing about the NPL men's competition is the coach turnover. We've had Arnie leave Sunny Coast Wanderers on the weekend, and they're in 10th place, just above the relegation zone on 11 points. Guys, you're playing for a trophy. You're not playing for any prize money. What's the deal here, Scott? Why is everyone so trigger happy?
I genuinely, for the life of me, don't know. I've been talking about this with a couple of other people, and it's actually not just in this particular division. It's throughout the pyramid. You're seeing greater impatience at clubs for success. You know what I mean? And I think you've got to realise you've got to back people in. You've got to give them a chance to actually develop. I mean, this is the thing, and particularly a lot of coaches like to work off a 2, 3, 4 year plan. And you look at it and go, if you're going to trigger them halfway through a season, well, no. I mean, you want to use my EPL club as an example, or they ex-EPL now. Was it 3 managers in 1 season? They deserve to go down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to have continuity. You just got to have continuity, and the board's got to have a clear idea of what it's trying to achieve. I think in every club,
Now that would probably explain the likes of Olympic and Penn Power. But what about Wanderers with the announcement that we heard this morning? He'd been there 5 years or something. He's been there since for a long time. So how we explain that? Just purely because of the losses?
Well, that's the thing. That's the only thing I can pick out from that.
Yeah.
Wanderers put out a statement tonight about the decision, and it reads to me like we want to play sexy football. Arnie doesn't play sexy football, so we're going to get a new coach. That's what I saw as the subtext of the letter. Anyway, let's move on. It's interesting to note Scott McNichol back at Rochdale Rovers.
Yeah.
Instant success. Great to see you back in the dugouts where you belong, Scotty. And you're a wonderful technical director, but the impact that you're having as a coach, great to see. Olympic, still bottom of the ladder. All right, Rob, let's get to your competition. It's no surprise to see your side on top of the ladder, 43 points after 16 rounds. What about the makeup of the top 4? Is that any surprise to you with East and Peninsula Power in 2nd and 3rd place?
I guess Peninsula Power coming up a division. It was a surprise that well, it's not really a surprise, but I mean they've excelled to be as good as they are. I mean they are somebody that we still need to watch. I think we've only got a 6-point break on them, and we've got to play them away in a few weeks. So they're still getting results week in, week out, and I think for a team that's come from the division below, they've done exceptionally well. In terms of the rest of the top 4, I can see Gold Coast dropping out. The way we played Mitchie twice this year, and I feel that they're a team that's in a bit of form at the moment. So there is a possibility that if Gold Coast don't get their act together and start getting some results, that they might drop out. But for a fair while there, it just looked like the 4 was streaking away. But now I think there's 5 teams contending, with Mitchie being one of them, and there's still 3 that could win the premiership.
Tell us about your season, Rob. You're ultra consistent as per usual.
Yeah, you can't complain, but we feel that we're playing okay, but we're not firing on all 4 cylinders. We beginning of the season we met, and our focus culturally was going to be on our, further developing our playing style, and it's kind of we've spluttered along in that regard. A lot of the time, a lot of our games are very transitional, and that's just not something that we want to be. The game is end to end, and anyone can win that. I don't know if you saw the cup game against East, and I mean East are an exceptionally good team. I think they're probably one of the best, if not the best team that I've seen while I've been at Lions. So it's no surprise that it's an even game, but it was just end to end. We just can't seem to keep the ball and take control of the game. So, but and we're just fortunate that we have such outstanding forwards that they can get the goals for us. And but these games they're tight games, and there's something we're not used to. We like to control the match, and it's not happening.
Yeah, that comes as a surprise, Rob, because you love keeping that ball and winning the possession game.
Absolutely, we do, and it's the stats showed, like even in the first half against Capalaba, they had 52% of the ball and we had 48. Capalaba, I think they're bottom. Are they bottom or the second bottom team?
They're 8th.
Yeah, they're 8th. So it's just something that we're all aware of, and we're all working at it. So it's not a problem, because I think that the players have got the mentality that they want to fix it. And we've been working hard at it this week, and the hope is that we can start controlling the game and having the ball, but still creating the opportunities to win well.
Just before you jump in, Liam, I want to ask you about Capalaba, Rob. I mean, they've been in grand finals over recent years. 8th place. It's a big drop in form.
Well, I've been in women's football a long time, and I've always felt that every club is 1 or 2 people away from going from the top of the tree to the bottom of the tree. And women's clubs are not as robust as men. And you see sometimes when a significant person leaves an organisation that they fall away. And I think in this case, it's been a few players have left Capalaba, and it's been very hard to attract players there, because again, we've got a 10-team comp, and it's very much a players market. So once, I guess, the smell of death is on you, it's very hard to come back from that. I certainly look at my former club, the Gap, who were in the finals for something like 15 years straight, and they've just disappeared in 3 or 4 seasons. They've gone from top of the game to the 3rd division. So that can happen.
You mentioned that about 1 or 2 players. Is that just due to the lack of depth of teams that a club has?
Yeah, it is. And, that's something that we've worked at Lions. I know there's this perception, and it is fundamentally inaccurate, that it's all we just buy things. But our team is every season is increasingly built from our junior base, and our under 23s are an exceptional team. And there's a bag load of really talented young players in there that are going to be first team players here at Lions in the future. So that's the key. I mean, it is the key. If you end up with a cohort decide they're going to leave en masse, you need to have something that can come through and replace them. And that needs to be the first priority of any club.
Good stuff. All right, Liam.
Yeah. Was I going to say something? I just going back to the Pen Power and the Mitchelton clubs there. As someone that kept an eye on FQPL 1 in the women last season, with because of my interest with Western Pride, you certainly saw Pen Power and Mitchelton last season. You just knew that they had something there. They fought for every match they fought to get to where they were, and for Mitchelton to in the back half of last season to come from where they were and come up, and he took a couple of good signings and find a bit of form and a bit of confidence, and then bang, look where they are. And to be honest, I think at the start of the season, I predicted Pen Power and Mitchelton would be in the finals for this season based on what I saw last year.
Yeah, well, they are good sides, and I think I love the fact that we have promotion and relegation now, which we haven't really had for such a long time, and I think what they've done to get themselves promoted is probably a significant reason as to why they're such resilient teams. But I also think they're both well coached as well, I think that makes a difference. Certainly, I know Mick's doing a good job there, but when Alex had them last year, we played them in the cup away, and it was a very difficult game. They made us very uncomfortable. So having the coach and having so much to play for, I think that is part of the ingredients behind why they've been so successful this year.
I mean, Alex did a very good job. Like last season, what's the season before? Pen Power really struggled, and then come last season, we're all thinking, oh yeah, let's see where this goes. But Alex, he had them playing so well and so much confidence, and you could see his influence clearly from the start of the season, that they were a different team. They were a different kettle of fish, and he got them promoted, and then he's then gone on his way, job done. And look at them, and then it's good to see that Pen Power have signed the right people, got the right people, backing the club, backing the players, and they're still going on with it. And I think that's very important. Once you can get up there, but then you have to keep it going, and it's good to see that Pen Power have done that.
Absolutely. You make a very important point, which is everybody wants a women's program, but are they willing to invest in it? And if you want to be successful, now,
see.
you need to be prepared to invest in the program. It just doesn't happen. You've got to spend some money, and I'm not talking on players. I'm talking on coaches, coach development. I think they're probably better paid players in the competition than we have at Lions. But what we have here in terms of sports science, GPS data, strength and conditioning coaches, all that's required for recovery. There's everything here that a player needs to be the best that they can possibly be. So those 1%ers add up. They make a difference. And
look, that's very true what you're saying. When you have a look at the ladder, at the men's ladder and the women's ladder, it's only Lions and Gold Coast where they have their top men and their top women in top parts of the table in their own leagues. Like it's very hard for clubs to have the backing and to have men and the women on the same level. So like in some clubs, in some leagues, you're either fully backing the men and the women kind of coming along, underneath, or it's vice versa. You have the women up and the men down. Case example is Souths. South United. Look where their women are. The Palabar, their women are in the top league, and the men are kind of just fending off probably relegation in the FQPL 1. So it's very, very rare in this pyramid where you have both the men and the women are at the top of their leagues. So I don't know if that's an important point, or it's just the way that clubs' finances and or the lack of players or staff to go around to make that happen.
Well, here the board want it. They absolutely want it. From the day I came in, they said everyone gets the same access to the same resources. We want to be the best women's program in Queensland, and they have certainly delivered in spades. So it is, if the board are in, then you've got a chance. But if they say they want a women's team, because everyone has one and they think it's just going to grow organically, it won't. I'm looking forward next year to Brisbane City coming up, because as a Gap person, not the hugest fan of Brisbane City back in the day, but I just think that they are invested in what they want to achieve in women's football. They have a great coach. They've got a ready-made squad. So it's a big thing. Bringing me back next year will be the hope of playing in a Brisbane City Lions derby with a fair dinkum quality team. So you'll have a number of teams next year that are fully invested, and I guess the Gold Coast Knights, when they work their way through the divisions, is going to be another good addition to the league if they're willing to invest in the women's program, which they seem to be doing already.
Oh, it's hugely important that the clubs understands that you have to have equal. If you want success with both your senior teams, you need to give them equal amount of love, because if you don't, people will walk, people will avoid your club, or you just don't want that. You don't want that, but unfortunately, it happens, doesn't it? So they tend to focus more on one, and the other one will just kind of like, it'll just kind of come along by itself and look after itself, which it won't. And then you wonder why then you can't attract the players that you want, or the managers and coaches that you want. So it's a real vicious circle.
Absolutely. And in 2023, I don't think equality should be such a novelty.
No.
Rob, we've got a World Cup that's a bit over a month away, I think. Has that opened any doors up for you yet with teams coming out? Are there things planned that players in this competition are going to be able to access?
I'm not fully around it, but Nigeria are based here. It would be lovely to play them, but there are very, very strict rules about access to their training sessions. That we can't come and watch them or anything unless they open it up. The whole place is going to be closed up, fair enough. It's a World Cup. These teams are preparing for a big tournament, and I guess they don't want every Tom and Harry in there with a camera having a look at what they're doing. So I'm hopeful that there will be opportunities for the club and for our team. If Nigeria won a game, I think it would be a wonderful opportunity, and I guess there's a chance that they might. So, but we don't know. At this stage, nothing is planned, but I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be opportunities to experience the World Cup in some way.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite, Rob? Do you think there's any one country that stands out for you for the World Cup?
Well, there's a lot actually. Probably, it's it used to be that you'd be looking at Germany and the USA, but you've got Holland now and England and France, and of course the USA will be an option. Canada, Sweden, and we hope Australia will perform, because if Australia can play at their best level, they can win games, and you never know in a knockout. Once it gets to the knockout stage, they could go a long way, but it's going to be tough, and it'll be the toughest, closest World Cup that there's been, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. It's about 10 or 12 countries that can win it.
Yeah, Sweden's another one as well.
Yeah,
that's one of the big things I think that I've noticed in women's football is just the incredible improvement in quality of European teams, and that is simply because Europe has jumped on this female sport turning point that happened a few years ago, and they've invested so heavily in women's football, and their football has improved incredibly. And I think it's changing the way women's football is played. It's far more technical and tactical now, whereas there used to be a great premium put on power and athleticism, but the tactical and the technical side has certainly come a long, long way.
Well, I genuinely believe that the Matildas, they've found a bit of form lately, and they seem to be playing the football that we know that they can play. And I put that down to a lot of the players being in those European leagues now. They're just playing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They're playing fantastic football over there now. Hard, fast football, and they're getting the crowds, and they're loving playing the game. It's
funny when they played England, and of course they knocked England over recently.
Yeah.
And England were on this 30-game streak, so it's probably not a bad thing for both sides. But a lot of those Australian girls are playing the English leagues. They know how to play England as a team.
Yeah.
That's the point. They're aware. Do you know what I mean? Like, they shouldn't be coming into their home World Cup worried about anybody, really. To be honest with you, they've got the ability. It's just a question of execution.
And they also beat Great Britain at the Olympics as well. So
yeah, exactly.
I think there's a certain formula where we might end up playing England, isn't there?
Because they're in groups next door to each other. So if one comes first and one comes second,
that would be a great game. That would be a huge game in the
it would be.
Yeah. And given the recent history, we got to fancy our chances at home.
I think so.
Well,
I mean, like I say, it just comes down to those little micro moments, isn't it? And from the quarterfinals onwards, you look at it and go, it could just be literally one moment. That's it.
I think whoever finishes at the top of their league plays around a 16 in Brisbane.
Yes. Yeah. Very interesting.
So it'll be lots of expats or lots of Aussies. It'll be
I'll be all over that. Don't worry.
I'll just go back to something you said before about the fact that they're all playing in Europe, and the American season that they used to go back from Australia to America, back to Australia, are very short seasons. Now they're playing in European seasons that are 10 months long. So there's just more football, and the more you play, the better you get. The more you play, the more you train. So
that's right, because they used to play in America and then come back to Australia and go to America, come to Australia. But now they just don't seem to be coming back to Australia now. Like, you remember Sam Pearce come back and play for Perth, or she go back to Chicago or Perth or wherever, and then but now they're just always in Europe now, because they're playing the league, and they're playing if they're good enough, then they're playing the Champions Leagues. And
that's it.
Yep, it's a full-time professional league they're playing in now, so they're going to get better.
Yeah,
I just remember watching that European Championship final between England and Germany, and England were lucky that day, I thought, a little bit, but just the conditioning and the tactics, as you said, just a massive leap forward from even the previous World Cup cycle 4 years ago.
Yeah,
was this huge difference.
Yep, 100%. And we have to match it here. I guess our league is going to be a feeder league to Europe, but they need a 10-month season, and means that we'll lose players that won't play for us. But I think in the long run, that's what's best for women's football is a longer season with 30 plus games a season to develop our players to be able to go from our league to the next league and then be better players for our national team.
Yeah, true. I agree.
Good stuff. We might keep moving on through the leagues, Rob. if you need to go, you're welcome to do so. But if you're going to stick around, that'd be fantastic as well.
I've got my Japanese import here. I need to take it home, so I'll be back really shortly.
One question before you go, Rob. There's something that I've never asked you. How did you get started in women's football?
Well, I was playing at the Gap, and I knew I wanted to coach eventually. And a guy I work with, David Tim was his name. He said his wife and their friends who all had recently had babies, they wanted to play football. Would I coach the team? And that was the first Gap team. And they did really well. We came second and we won the grand final and got promoted. And you know, those girls pretty much stayed with us all the way as we got promoted to the first division. And it was never my plan to be in women's football. In fact, I actually, at that point, I was coaching the Gap girls, and I was also coaching junior boys and coaching in Brisbane North, the old Brisbane North Junior Association. But then I got married, and my wife was gonna have a baby, and I had to pick one. So I picked the women because I had more control over that, and here I am, 30 years later.
Worked out all right, hasn't it?
It's been a while, yeah. I'm coming to the end though, you know. Time to go fishing soon, but not yet.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks for your time, Rob. Safe trip home.
Thanks, Darren. Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Good on you.
Rob.
G'day.
Yes.
All right. Hey, Tim, you're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. We'll get you in the chat shortly, I promise.
No stress.
Let's quickly move through these leagues, and we'll just pick out a few of the salient points from each competition. It's all about Gold Coast, isn't it? Gold Coast is the peak of football in Southeast Queensland at the moment. We've got two teams at the top of the NPL. Surfers Paradise on top of the FQPL 1. We've got Broadbeach on top of the FQPL 2. Guys, Liam, I might just get you to give a quick summary of any of those competitions, mate.
Well, FQPL 1, when we went for our little hiatus there, Service Paradise were kind of wallowing away there around about 9th or 10th, and we're wondering, is this a bit of a shock for them to be? I think I even gave them a bit of banter there at Briggs Road. There, I said, there's no sea breeze here, boys, and then they flogged us for that game, and look at them now. I mean,
Times, yeah.
I think the keeper said some smart ass remarks back. But look, it's when it comes to FQP on Service Paradise, Wolves, not so much Ace now. Ace kind of backed off a little bit there from the start, from where they were. But yeah, Apollo and Wolves have certainly they've certainly gone up into the league where they finished in FQPL 2. It's those two battling it out again. Lots of
Thunder in a spot of bother.
Sorry,
and Thunder are in a spot of bother.
Thunder. Oh, look, but they're not playing that bad. I watched when they played Pride at Briggs Road. They didn't play that bad. I just think the other clubs. I think it's just such a tight competition that if you don't take your chances and you're just missing that little bit of quality, then this is what happens, And look, they're in a spot of bother. Southside Eagles, look, that's a shock as well. But they're inconsistent. They've always been inconsistent the last few years. I think maybe that's starting to show. Mitchelton as well. And this is what I was saying before about the men's comp and the women's comp. Dan Panisi left at the end of last season, so maybe they're missing a few things there. Fire, Capalaba, these are all big name clubs, and I don't know. I mean, I watched that game, that Capalaba men and Thunder men's game, and yeah, they squandered a 2-goal lead there, Capalaba. But also too, a few weeks ago, Capalaba came back for a draw for a win, I think it was. Look, it's just so up and down. That bottom half of the league. Pride have finally got a bit of run along now, but they've had 3 wins in a row. They were kind of down in that bottom zone as well with only 2 wins. Strikers, I mean, God, we all talk about strikers. I mean, they're inconsistent as well. They've lost. I think they lost to Eagles. They're inconsistent as well. It's madness, you know. And but I think Apollo and Wolves will probably run away with it. Pride play Wolves this week, so it'll be a good gauge to see where both clubs are at. You know, is Pride going to have enough to get over Wolves, because maybe are Wolves starting to flounder a bit now. I don't know. I mean, they were cruising along, and then Apollo have just come up. Oh man, you need to take a breath.
And all about Broadbeach United and FQPL2 with St George and Holland Park and Grange Thistle rounding out the top 4.
Yes, isn't that good? Good.
FQPL1 women, Brisbane City on top.
Oh, blitzing everybody.
10 from 10. Southwest Queensland Thunder, 2nd place. Good to see them getting a foothold back in the competition. Western Pride in 8th, Liam.
Yeah, look. Look, they're in a bit of spot to bother our girls, but not for trying. Again, like Thunder, they're not playing bad football. They're just missing something in that final third. But they're not giving up, and they're trying every game, and that's all you can ask for. I mean, Rusty Arrow there, he's doing great with his girls. He's keeping them focused, keeping them going. Unfortunately, Pride lost their number 1 keeper with Beth there with knee injury. I saw her injure that knee about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and she hasn't recovered from that, which is a shame. So they got to rely on her under 23 keeper Kate, who's amazing little keeper. But she's I think she's until Pride can get Beth replaced, I think she's playing two games at the moment, a day, a match round, because. But again, is this a women's football thing with, you know, is it too diluted? I don't know. That's another discussion. But yeah, look, City running away with it. They're doing great. They probably, with City being such a proud club and with a lot of history, they probably deserve to have their women's team in the top competition. So yeah, it's certainly yes. Moreton Bay United. I mean, look where they were last season. They're fighting off relegation with Pride. Logan are probably going to do enough, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the FQPL North and South competition. Tim, we're finally going to have a chat.
All right.
We'll start with the FQPL 6, which is, of course, your competition. We've got the new team Braza on top. Logan Village, you're sitting pretty in 2nd place. Tell us about the comp, mate.
It's a very hard comp. It's teams invest in some players, and then there's other teams that can't invest. I find it very grouped too. If you look at the competition, there's a lot of like local Logan teams, all would be within probably a 10-15 kilometre radius. So obviously, player draw card is quite hard when you're all fighting for similar players. So that makes it difficult, but it's a very hard league to break out of. If you look at the teams that have broken out last year, they're both sitting quite high up in FQPL 5 this year.
Where
been the trend over the last few years, where whoever goes up from 6 goes up from 5 as well. You know, they tend to go. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. Like when we were back in the old QPL 4, we had Sanford and St George and Caboolture in there with us, and look at them now. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You want to go back before that to Capital 2 days? You had
that's it.
Holland Park.
Yeah.
Who was that? Holland Park, Newmarket, and there's teams that they now look where they are. So
yeah, exactly.
Once you break out of that league, a lot of the times, most of them carry on and move forward.
That's it.
Where are Braza playing their home games, Tim?
Out of Pine Hills.
Right. Oh, yes, that's it. Right. Of course.
Yeah, Braza, Pine Hill Braza, I think they're called, or something like that.
That's right. Yeah. Tell us.
Let me get this straight. They're a club within a club, basically.
Yes, correct.
That's very dodgy, isn't it? Fucking hell.
Yeah, so Pine Hills is they're the license holders,
Yeah.
And then Bras will play out of their own little club outside of that club.
What's stopping any other club doing the same thing? Just going, we're going to have a club within a club here. Do you know what I mean? Nothing. They set the
No.
precedent. You know?
That's true. Tell us about your team this year, Tim.
Yeah, it's definitely we've added a few players into the team this year. We've worked hard trying to find a few local players that have been travelling around and playing higher, but we picked up a few. We just made another signing this week. We've just signed a player from Magic, Gold Coast Magic, Eli Allen. So we've just picked up them. So we're adding to the squad as we go where we can. We've got a lot of good local boys, some young players in our 23s that are developing quite nicely and pushing along. So it's a big development area that we've just got to work with and push forward. So we picked up a couple players from Sucks Creek as well from last year. They've come across it as well. Sucks Creek somehow did a drop from FQPL 4 down to 6.
I'd like to know that one, seriously.
Are
So,
you
yeah,
finding with the there's Pimpama now, Ormo obviously, and all those other clubs in the leagues. You mentioned before that you're sort of fighting for the same class of player.
Yep.
But you still, I would suspect now that Logan Village isn't seen as the massive distance to go and play for than it was. Is that right?
It's definitely getting easier, but it's still a lot of some players. People have said it's still out of their reach. Then you get other players that come down. They go, "Oh, it's not as far as I thought." So it's definitely, with the way the development, the growth of the area is, it's starting to become more close. It's not the sticks as what we used to always be called. So it's definitely gonna boom in the next couple of years, I think, this area.
Sure thing. Tell us about Logan Rouge this year. They're going all right. Looks to be going all right at the moment.
They are going all right. Well, they've picked up a few players. I believe a few of their players have come across from Brisbane Knights. I believe there's some sort of link there from what I've been told. But no, they're doing well. I've watched a few of their games this year. They're playing not a bad brand of football, moving the ball around and taking their opportunities is probably the biggest thing they've done from the games I've seen. They've taken their opportunities this year.
And it's so good to see Teviot Downs not in the bottom of the ladder.
No, they've done well. They picked up a couple of players from Toowong.
3 wins. Wow. There you go.
So yeah, they've picked up 3 wins. I think they've had 2 in a row. I believe someone told me the other day that's the first time in the club history of being 2 wins in a row for them.
Because I think I was talking to Spencer last year about Teviot, and I'm like, what's going on with Teviot? I mean, they're just kind of doing nothing. So it's good to see them get some points and being competitive. It's good. It's great.
The first time,
a positive goal difference.
What was that? Sorry.
They've got a positive goal difference.
They do. To be honest, they're a team this year that no one's expecting, because obviously everyone's got the same attitude of it's Teviot, but they're surprising people because they're putting up for a fight and they're in there for the whole game. They're not got a bit of mongrels on this year. They're going for it. That's good to see.
And just looking at that top 4 team, can you see Bethania or ACU sneaking their way in there?
From previous games in the last few weeks, I think Bethania, they should sneak back up there, I believe. ACU, we played them start of the year. We had a comfortable win against them, and then they went on a good run after that. They won, I think they went 4 or 5 wins in a row, but then they've just last few weeks dropped away again. So I'm not too sure what's going on there, but that's who we face this weekend. So it'd be interesting to see how they go.
Excellent. All right. Can I ask you about the other leagues in this competition, like the FQPL 5?
Yep.
Yep. Good
Yes.
stuff. All right. So Yeronga Eagles on top of FQPL 5. That's a stacked side. They've got this fantastic match coming up in the Australia Cup against Peninsula Power. I am looking forward to that game. I've seen Yeronga Eagles in the Australia Cup. Good side. Barton the Tribe going well in second place as well. What can you tell us about this comp, Tim?
It's another good competition. There's some quality teams and there's some quality players. Like I said, that Yeronga team, they're they're on the same page. They're playing good football and they're getting the wins. Barton doing the same thing, surprising a few people I think this year. And considering last year, I think they survived relegation with the reshuffle. So I think they've invested some money into the team and it's working well for them. I guess the Jim Boombas another bit of surprise. They've picked up a few wins this year. Where last year they were the only team that didn't. I don't think they got picked up a point at all last season.
No, they had no points.
No, so they picked up a couple of wins already this year. So a bit different for them. But
Excellent. Yep, go on.
I think middle of that table, very similar teams to what was there last year. They're sort of just all fighting around. I think Kangaroo Point's sort of surprising a few people this year in that league, though. They're up there.
They're not asking for any guards of honour this year, I hope.
Oh, they're 23 as well.
That's Brighton Sledge last year when they did the guard of honour for them. It was one of the funniest things I've seen for a while.
Yeah.
Old Bridge in sixth. Is that surprising?
I thought that they've started well, but from what I hear, they've picked up quite a few injuries and a few disciplinary issues there at the moment. But be interesting to see. They sort of did this last year, and they came home quite strong too. So be interesting to see how their back half of the season goes for them.
All right. Let's move on to the FQPL4. And Scott, this is a bit of your territory here.
It is indeed.
Brisbane Knights.
Yeah, look, mate, I watched them play us a couple of weeks back. It was a really good game, but they're slick. They're slick side. They deserve every accolade you can give them. They're going to be in QPL3 very, very soon.
Yes, undefeated, 12 from 12. Springfield United in third place, 3 points behind New Farm United.
Yeah, New Farm United. With all due respect, I'm not quite sure how they're second because I've watched them play a few times and they're a good side, but I don't know. Sometimes things are broken their way, and I don't know whether they'll still be second for a lot longer. I'll be perfectly honest with you. There's 2 or 3 teams chasing behind them that I think are a bit stronger.
The big surprise for me looking at that ladder is Logan Metro. I saw them play Brighton in the Australia Cup and they look sharp, they look slick. They're in 9th place.
Yeah, I don't look. This is one of those things that I had them tipped for top 4. I'm pretty sure I said top 4 for them this year, and I'll be honest with you, it just confounds me that they're down that low. I just don't understand how they are.
Tarragindi are finding the step up a little bit difficult as well.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, look, I don't know. I look at Tarragindi, the Gap, Brighton. I worry for them. To be honest with you, those 3 teams at this level. They're being made to pay for mistakes. Do you know what I mean? Like last year in QPL 5, Tarragindi would have got away with it. We found that for the first 4 or 5 rounds of this particular competition, where I think in one game, Springfield were 3-1 up and lost 2 goals in the last 2 minutes of extra time. And you go, those are the kind of mistakes they wouldn't have been hurting them in QPL 5, but they do in QPL 4 because just that precision. Do you know what I mean? That precision of concentration as well. And that's where some of these teams, like I'm surprised Annerley are where they are, for instance. Annerley really impressed me when I watched them play. Do you know what I mean? Like Annerley are mid-table at the moment, 5th, 6th?
Yep. 7th.
Yeah. They're good. So they're a good side. I reckon they'll push up a lot higher. That's my tip at the moment.
Last time I had a good look at this league too, Ipswich City were like 2nd or 3rd. So
yeah, they've dropped off a bit.
3 loss. They've had 4. Our last 5 games they've had 1 win in 5. So it looks like they've kind of dropped their last win was against Moggle. So it looks like they've kind of lost a bit of form there and slipped down, which is a shame because they were looking really good at the start of the season.
Well, they lost 5-4 to us at home, so I'd like to think we triggered that a bit. But,
yeah.
I don't know what's gone on there because again, great going forward, great side going forward, but they were 4-1 up on us, I think, at one point. So you look at this and go, to concede and lose from there, what's going on? you know?
It's a bit crap, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, I want to move on now to the FQPL 3 Metro Women. And Scott, Springfield United are in second place to Sanford. Sanford have got a
Well, this is an actual competition I've been watching very carefully because my daughter plays in the Rezzies in this particular comp. Sanford are very good. Sanford have got Fiore, who was the North Brisbane coach from last season. And he knows how to win at this level. He knows how to win. They're not particularly pretty side, Sanford, to be honest with you, but they are physical and they are well conditioned and they're well structured and they're hard to break down. So they'll grind their way through. They're not smashing teams, but they'll grind their way through. Toowong looked good when we played them. I thought Toowong looked like a good side. They're in the top 4 as well, I believe. And then we're just getting the job done at the moment in the top level. I do think the depth and the injuries is going to be the issue, I think, for our squad. I look at it and go, you know, as ever, you know, when you've got the 2 different squads there's sometimes a bit of a drop-off in quality, and it's going to be interesting to see, like I say, and the run-in as to who's got the stronger overall program. Do you know what I mean? I think Sanford will go up. It's a question who goes up with them. That's all.
All right. Let's chat about the FQPL 3 Metro men. Now, I saw Bayside United lose their Australia Cup game against New Farm United. Had a quick chat to their coach afterwards, and he said, "Don't care about the cup. It's all about the league." I thought, oh yeah, covering up for the loss there. But then
I think a lot of lower league clubs are doing that, though. I think,
but they're only just on top of the league on 29 points, 5 points above Pine Hills, aren't they?
which Pine Hills? I'm confused.
The Pine Hills, Pine Hills.
Oh, Pine Hills, not Pine Hills Brazza.
No. Make sure you get the right one.
OG Pine Hills.
Okay.
Virginia United and Centenary Stormers, who after a great start have slipped back to 4th place.
Yeah, Virginia. Look, it's good to see them having a little bit of success there and a few points there, because again they were a club that was relegated a couple of seasons ago. So it's good to see them still fighting at the top there, and they haven't just capitulated.
Newmarket in 7th on 17. I'm a little bit disappointed by that. North Pine in 5th on 20. They could just a couple of wins away from getting back into the 4. Acacia Ridge, North Brisbane, and Western Spirit making up the bottom of
Western Spirit. I think it's their time now.
I'm looking forward to Springfield playing Spirit next season. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, as a staunch Ipswich man, these guys have been hanging on, and this club has been hanging on. But hey, look, I have to admit, I was quite shocked to hear from Ipswich City Council that they've really only started to ramp up their flood repair about 4 weeks ago. I think they finally started to get some flood repair from last year, which I think absolutely sucks. I mean,
yeah, it does.
That's 14 months that clubs had to battle through, playing out of little bits and bobs and pieces, and trying to get their seasons going and trying to attract people to their club when they don't have the facilities. I think council dropped the ball with that. And
are you shocked? You've dealt with council.
I shouldn't be shocked.
You shouldn't be shocked, mate.
No, but look, they've held in there for as long as they can. They've done so much with what they've got. Yeah, okay, but it's probably time for them to go down. They've just been hanging in there for so long. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'll quickly run through all the other leagues that we haven't run through, and then we'll just have a quick chat about Ange at the end. So, FQPL 3 South Coast men. Southport have stormed into top place in that league over Rabina, 2 points ahead there, with Kingscliff and Palm Beach rounding out the top 4. In the women's, Gold Coast Knights, the team that Rob Askew mentioned before, they are on top on 27 points. Looking at the sunny coast, Woombai, hooly dooly, Woombai on top of the men's competition, with Bummer just behind, and Caloundra and Noosa rounding out the top 4. In the women, it's the BGs, And Maroochydore level on points on 25 with Mumbai and Noosa ending out the top 4. And in the Darling Downs men, now normally you say Willowburn top of the men, top of the women, but no, not this year. It's St Albans on top by a point over Willowburn in the men, and Highfields on top in the women with Rockville, Willowburn, and Highfields. Second Highfields team rounding up the top 4.
Second.
All right, guys. Let's talk about Ange Postecoglou.
Well, I think it's a great fit, personally. I think he's the right mind for the right time, you know. His first thing is going to be to deal with Harry Kane. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah, I was watching a few of the Spurs podcasts there, listening to a few podcasts there last night, and look, I think there's some genuine optimism with Ange. I haven't heard a lot of Spurs supporters saying, "Oh, who's this? Who is this? What's going on? Why can't we attract such and such from some big European league?" I think him having the success he did at Celtic, I think that's exposed himself to a lot of the football crowd in Great Britain itself. So a lot of people have seen YouTube vids. Everyone's seen things on TikTok. Everyone's seen a lot of things about Ange Postecoglou and Celtic. So he's been exposed to them to say, okay, look, this guy's the real deal. So even some of the professional punters are saying, that this is a good thing. You are right, Scott, when it comes to Harry Kane, that did come up a few times. But what they're saying is that, well, if Harry Kane was to go, if he was to get sold, he'd get sold for a very good price, and that would open up a lot of opportunities for the Ange to sign whoever he wants to sign.
Yeah,
I think he needs what's the Spurs boss again? What's his name again?
Daniel Levy.
Yeah, Levy. I think he has to. I think he's got to smarten up when it comes to backing him and giving him time. He can't just have this English football thing where it's just like, oh, you've had 2 losses, now you can F off.
yeah, exactly.
You have to stick with him. And I think, again, with the success that he had with Celtic in that first season, where he did lose 2 or 3 of his first few games for Celtic in that season, but you could see it. Fans could see that the football they were playing was more attacking football. It was more possessive football. And that's something that Spurs have been missing. And as a football fan, someone who this is going to annoy you, Mr. Man City up the top there, whatever. But you can. But no, seriously, you can probably attest to this. But watching Liverpool play, and watching City play, and watching all these top teams play high pressing, possessive, attacking football, where it's all of football, whole of football game. It's going to suit him very, very well, and that's what Spurs will want. They'll want to see that from the get-go. If they can see that from the get-go that this is the game that he's going to play, exciting attacking football, I think he'll do okay. But it'll be a tough first season for him. I cannot wait to see the way he's going to handle the British press. I cannot wait.
Tim, you've got to be thinking to yourself, if Ange can do it, you can do it, right?
One way out.
Who do you support over there?
Liverpool.
Liverpool, okay.
We're everywhere, man. We're everywhere.
Yeah, God, you certainly are.
Somebody say everywhere, but nowhere.
I want you all to spare a thought for Australian Arsenal fans. How would they be feeling at the moment?
They go same old, surely.
I don't really care, to be honest, Darren.
It's going to be quite interesting for them if. I'm not sure how I could do it.
Look,
that's as close as they're getting for the next 5 years.
Yeah, there was lots of chat and about how people wanted Klopp to go and they wanted to get we have to go for Ange because he's the type of guy for the. It was all pie in the sky stuff, So, and he'll be good. They just need to back him. They just need to give him time. But if he starts losing games, or he loses games, or he's not doing well from the first, you just got to be patient with him. But English football is not like that. If you're not winning from the very first go, and you're not showing any sort of fight, you're gone.
Well, look how brutally they got treated. Graham Potter at Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? This is a bloke who'd had 2-3 years of genuinely quite impressive success, and then he just got hammered. Didn't he? Just absolutely hammered.
Yeah. I mean, but look at Arsenal. Arsenal were they last season or the season before they were thereabouts, but they weren't performing well. But they stuck with him, and he kept playing the football that they wanted to play. Didn't really have a big turnover of players, but they just kept at it. They just kept at it, and they kept at it, and they kept backing their players. And now look, and now they're back in Champions League. So just got to keep with it.
Exactly. Boys, I'm
Jump in
going
with an opinion,
to have
Tim.
to head off, boys, I'm afraid.
It's all right. We're about to end the show. Jump in with an opinion, Tim.
How was that?
Jump in with an opinion, mate.
No, I think he'll be fine. He'll play the attacking football. They just got to give him time. Just believe in him. Don't, like I said, if you lose a couple of games, it's fine. As long as he takes that style and picks up the players. So I think the biggest issue they're going to have straight away is what they're going to do with Kane. They're going to keep Kane or they're going to get rid of him. And deal with that. That's going to set their season.
Well, he's got 1 year on his contract, so either he'll
Cash him in.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I reckon get the players Ange wants, because Ange will get great players for nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cash him in. Use the money.
Tim, where do you expect your side to finish at the end of this season, mate?
Sorry?
Where do you expect your team to finish this season?
We want the top spot, of course.
Is it-
Top spot.
Have you got the capacity to get there?
Yes. Yeah, we do.
Yep.
We do.
All right.
Love a confident coach.
And this is your first season at Village, right?
I played last year, and then I'm first team player coach this year. So
And how's that transition been for you?
very different. Very different.
Tell us a couple of things that about that.
It's obviously you as a football player you know what you have to do and what to do, but you've also got to have two hats in the same basket. You've got a job to do as a player, and then you've got to coach. But you've also got 11 to 16 other guys that you got to look after.
Jesus.
So it's not just a squad thing. So it's definitely a big adjustment from worrying about yourself and making sure you got your own individual job to do, to now worrying that you've got a whole squad to get their job done.
Yep. Have you found your relationships have shifted with the players?
Still got good relationships, but there's a different. Occasionally, you get different feels and whatnot, but that's all part of football. What happens on the field stays on the field. Once we come off, we're all good mates. That's the best part about football.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, we might end it there, guys. I feel like that's been an hour. That's more than enough for this show. Apologies if we haven't spoken in depth about your competition. We'll just keep rotating our guests through from all the different leagues, and we'll, whichever guests we get, we'll focus on that competition a little bit more, and we'll try and get those through. But it's great to be back. Thank you for watching. I just want to finish the show by saying ballet to Elaine Watson. What a wonderful woman she was. I got to meet her a couple of times. Just an absolute inspiration, and someone who is, from a committee point of view, I don't think she actually ever played a game. It was all about just overseeing the game, and she did that with aplomb. What a wonderful woman. Should be sorely missed. That's the show. That's the Village Law SEQFC preview show. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. How do I end this thing? I haven't done this for so long.
You've forgotten.
Well, you're still recording, put it that way.
Yeah, I know. Here we go. See ya.